Food bloggers, hi, how are you today? Thank you so much for tuning in to the Eat Blog Talk podcast. This is the place for food bloggers to get information and inspiration to accelerate your blog's growth and ultimately help you to achieve your freedom, whether that's financial, personal, or professional. I'm Megan Porta. I have been a food blogger for 13 years, so I understand how isolating food blogging can be. I'm on a mission to motivate, inspire, and most importantly, let each and every food blogger, including you, know that you are heard and supported. Hey food bloggers, check out our new SEO Supercut, a bonus 15-minute episode capturing highlights from SEO episodes that we have recorded recently. Go to eatblogtalk.com/SEO Supercut to get access today. There's so much value in getting information from people who know our food blogging businesses really well, right? But I think there's also so much value in getting perspectives of people who are not in our food blogging realm. In this interview, Sena Wheeler joined me. Her business is called Sena Sea, S-E-A. She and her husband sell fish online. That is their business. It's a generational business. It's been around forever. They know fish well. They know how to cook with fish well. So while their business does relate to food, she is not technically a food blogger. One of the ways she's really grown her business is through her email list. Her approach with the email list has been really simple. There's nothing complicated about it, and it's had a huge impact on her business. I love her story. I love the tips that she shares, and some of them are things that we just don't hear about in our space. So I think you'll find so much value in this episode. Sponsored by RankIQ. Food bloggers, it has been a tough year. Am I right? We have endured a lot of changes in our industry, and it feels like the blows just keep coming. One thing that has remained constant this year is the Eat Blog Talk Mastermind group. The way we show up for each other and the fact that the members in the group are pivoting when needed, staying in touch with relevant information and thriving is huge, and it says a lot about the group. I want to share this audio clip with you from Christina. She's the blogger at When Salty and Sweet Unite. She is part of the group this year. And here are her thoughts about you considering joining the group next year in 2025. For more information and to apply, go to eatblogtalk.com/mastermind. Here is Christina.
There's just something about people who are investing in themselves. There's just something about us that we get it. Like we want it. We're going to go get it. We're going to go figure it out. And let's all do this together, right? There's no room for negativity. There's negative things that happen throughout that course, but that's not what we're focused on. Yeah. And I think in free groups, I notice there's a lot of negativity. And I don't know why that is. Like, is that because this is truly a free group? Is that because we're not touching on mindset enough? Is that because like when you get free is what you get is free? Like, I don't know. You pay for, right? Yeah. So I don't have an answer to why that is, but I just feel like, you know, you can make it happen. Like if you want that growth, because I understand not everyone can do a mastermind, but somehow you can make it happen, whether it be do a payment plan.
We found a way to make it work. And it has really, like you said, it's absolutely worth it.
Now back to the episode. Sena Wheeler is part of a fifth-generation fishing family and the co-founder of Sena Sea, which brings wild Alaskan seafood direct to your door. She is passionate about sustainability, helping busy families eat healthier, and educating people about the brain-boosting benefits of wild fish. She has a master's degree in nutrition and food science with a specialty in quantifying omega-3s in fish and determining preferred handling practices for premium quality. She and her husband enjoy running this family business together, spending part of the year in Alaska, and having the flexibility to enjoy watching her children participate in school sports, and of course, eating and cooking fish. Sena, it is so great to have you on the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so happy to have you here. We are going to talk about your amazing success with using sales writing to increase your emails and therefore other awesome things in your business. Before we get into all of that, do you have a fun fact to share with us?
Yes, I would say, I started this internet business. We sell fish online, but I started this internet business when we lived way up in the mountains and had barely any internet.
Oh, yikes. How did that go?
We couldn't even, if I wanted to download something, I would have to do it in the night. So it actually made me have to be more careful and planned with my time, I'd say.
Yeah, very intentional, I suppose.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, that is definitely an interesting fun fact. I love it. Okay, well, I don't know a whole lot about your business, so I would love it if you would just talk through it and tell us what it's all about, when you started. Just give us a little bit of a background.
Yeah, ours is a little different. I mean, no matter where I go, selling fish online is a little different.
Yeah.
My husband is a commercial fisherman, and in fact, we're fifth generational commercial fishermen. So my dad was a commercial fisherman, my uncles, my grandpa, his dad, and all the way back to Norway. So fishing is what we know and we've done for our whole lives. And we started the business. So we always just sold to off the dock, you sold to a buyer. That's just what people do. But with the internet, the way it is these days, we've been doing for 10 years, we've been selling our fish online. And so we actually ship the fish. We cut it into 6-ounce portions. So we now have a facility. And so everything we catch is up in Alaska. We cut it. It's in 6-ounce portions, all packaged. So I just like to say that so people can visualize, because getting fish in the mail just seems super weird, or did. After COVID, it's a little less weird, but they're packaged and vacuum sealed and then frozen. So we ship with dry ice and insulated and all of that. And you get the fish right to your door.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's been really a lot of learning around that part of that, actual shipping, the actual fish and getting it to people's door frozen and things like that.
Has it been hard to grow this kind of business online, do you feel like?
Everything's hard. We do a lot of stuff. Well, we catch the fish, we process the fish, we sell it online, and we pack the boxes. So there's just a ton of steps. But yeah, I think that getting started online is hard, getting the ball rolling. And when we first started, we were also selling fish at the farmers markets. And that really helped us. For one thing, we were talking face to face with our customers. So I'm there talking with them 8 hours a day. I know what they're asking, and I'm really honing my responses too. So that was really huge. We got to kind of do what we do online. We got to do it in person. And it really, in the beginning, it was easier to scale farmers markets because you could just go to more. But you get to that tipping point where during that time, I was doing all the hard work online, but you're not getting a lot of return because, it's like you're sending the emails and doing the things, but your audience is small. So during that time, we were working hard on the farmers markets and just slowly building our audience. And then over time, that same amount of effort makes more sales online. So really our tipping point was during COVID. We were about 4 or 5 years in. So halfway through, we hit COVID. And then all of a sudden we stopped doing the farmers markets and everybody started buying online. And our online business quadrupled. So it helped us really get to that tipping point faster, I would say.
Yeah, that's great. And then you did focus on your emails, right? And writing quality emails to your subscribers as well.
That's been just really the big, I would say the secret to our success, and the biggest component is our emails. So back when I had a very limited internet, I was at that time, I have been in the food industry. So I used to do R&D in a food lab for a big food company. So I definitely have my roots and I have a master's degree in food science. So my roots are definitely food science. But at the time I was home with my 3 small kids and we were living way out in the mountains, like I said. And the internet it just had limited bandwidth. So during the day, you could sort of check emails. But if you needed to stream something or download something, you had to do it like after 8 a.m. or before 8 a.m. at night.
Oh, wow.
So weird. So the first thing I did was I took a business course for building an online business, which was the best thing I could have done. And I learned a lot, especially since I wasn't really brushed up on it. At that moment in time, I was kind of home with my kids, not really doing stuff on the internet. And so that business course was really huge. And she had said in the course, start an email list. And at the time I was like, I don't even know what that is. I mean, if you can imagine now, it's plain as day, but I wasn't on anybody's list. I wasn't getting emailings from people, and it just didn't even ring a bell. I was going, I wonder what that is. So I just did what they said on this training, and I ended up setting up this email list. And then they said, start sending emails. So I did. And at the time, I'm emailing like 40 people, my friends and family that I know really well. And so I just did it because it was just some people that I already knew.
Yeah.
It was almost easier because it was a small list. I didn't have this I didn't go in going like, oh my gosh, I need to do a really good job and be really professional. Like I have this big inspiration. It was just like, oh, Rich just went out and caught some sockeye and we're bringing it
no
down.
pressure, no pressure situation, right? Where it's like,
and
now you feel so much pressure to get it right. Like you have to have a nurture sequence and you have to do this. And it's like the most daunting thing. I see it all the time where people just kind of freeze because they don't know where to start with it.
Yeah. And you feel like you're doing this big, huge, scary thing.
Yeah.
But I would just say, when you just start and you just do it and just don't, it sounds silly, but one of my things I would tell myself is, oh, just write a crappy email today, Sena.
Just anything. Just put something up.
Don't worry about it. It doesn't have to be a really good one. Just write whatever.
Yeah.
And it just sort of taking that pressure off of, it's hard to sit down and write a masterpiece. It's easier to just sit down and write a little note about what you're doing. One
step, one little thing, right? That's not daunting at all.
Exactly. And so that's that small step that we did back then, and just kind of getting through that beginning part where you're like, oh, geez, I really don't know what I'm doing. And just kind of moving through that, I think, was really key.
So after you got more comfortable talking to your people, even if it was a small number, I'm assuming that you started gaining traction with your email list and getting more subscribers at that point?
Yeah, what I did was we did a little free downloadable cookbook. We still have it. It was one of the first things that I did. It's the kind of free opt-in. And so because I had been working at the farmers markets, I kind of knew what people ask. And they would typically ask, how do you cook it? But they wouldn't just be sort of like, well, how do you cook it? They would be like, well, how do you cook it? You're like a 5th generation fishing family.
Yeah.
How do you cook it? And so that really gave me kind of the insight to go, okay, here's what people, when they know our history, they want to know how we cook our fish. So I did a downloadable cookbook about just some of our family recipes. And that sounds daunting at first until you realize a downloadable cookbook is just a PDF. It's just a Word document.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds cool, but it's just a Word document with some pictures.
Yeah, it's very simple.
It's very simple to do. And at that time I had somebody help me, but now I'm like, and I still am glad because it looks more professional, but it really isn't that hard. And so I'm glad that I did it. And, we still use that same cookbook.
Oh, that's amazing. Because that's really the bones of what people want from you, probably. Not like you said, I love this, not how you cook fish, but how you cook fish as the true expert in the area of cooking fish.
Right. And just feeling comfortable leaning into that, going into this, our goal was to sell fish, but we've became much more, what we're trying to do is make it easy for people. Really kind of leaning into people's pain points. It's often around, how do I prepare it? How do I cook it? What do I do with it? And so it's been really interesting to just, as we're answering questions and being kind of that guide for our customers, it's just really is leaning into that, more of that influencer type, here's what you do with it. Here's how you cook it. Here's a lot of recipes. So we do a lot of recipe work and things like that.
It's interesting how your business translates over to the food blogging business in our world, because a lot of what you're saying is the same. You have to lean into what the pain points are. You have to listen, really know what they want from you, ask the questions, and be the guide. That is the same thing with us. I think maybe you have a little advantage because you were able to interact with those people in person.
Right.
I think that is maybe a disadvantage for food bloggers because we have to kind of figure that stuff out through emails and social media, but it really is the same sort of thing.
And we've transitioned all to online now. So we do one farmer's market. And so we have translated that to online, but you're right. It's just, how do you push that information out when they're not standing there going, well, here's my biggest question.
Mm-hmm. Right. They're not in front of you. So you have to work a little bit for it, I think, as a food blogger. But it's the same concept. And then, so how did your email grow from there, and how has it become such an important part of your business?
I think it just grew through consistency. So just doing it was really the key. We did do a few sort of partnership giveaways, so that kind of helped our list a little bit, but we just kind of starting to run ads, and we're 10 years in. So we'd never ran a lot of ads, but we mostly grew organically and, kind of slowly and organically. But I always felt like, well, I'd rather have really good people on our list. We have this kind of list that is people that really care and they're really our people, than a huge list of kind of our people. And so just being really kind of letting people in a little bit, it's been really interesting just to kind of, now I feel like the word authentic is so overdone, but but people are interested in all different aspects. I mean, to me, it's funny that I'm still talking about fish on a weekly email.
Yeah.
You would think maybe we'd run out of topics, but
right. But it never gets old for your people. I suppose they want to hear more and more and more.
Right. And it's about our life and we're living it. So we're kind of like, we're not running out of topics because we're kind of still living it. And so, it's like, hey, we're doing this or we're doing that. And in the winter, sometimes I talk about the rest of our life, my son wrestling and things like that. And it's kind of a challenge to me to go, okay, well, how do I tie this into selling fish? How do I transition back? So I feel like sometimes it's kind of a challenge to just talk about something that seems really unrelated to fish and kind of tie it back and, kind of have some fun with it. And that lets our audience kind of know about us too. So it's, I think, being in such a one-dimensional world of, yes, we sell fish, we talk about fish, letting pieces of us into that, I think.
Yes, getting personal, getting real. Mm-hmm. Like you said, authentic. I feel like I use the word authentic about 1 million times in every episode I record. So yeah, I'll skirt around that word.
It's like becoming inauthentic to say authentic.
I know, exactly. Pretty soon we will not be saying that word anymore. Maybe you are eager to join one of the eBlog Talk mastermind groups, but not quite ready to make the full investment. The eBlog Talk accountability group could be the perfect solution for you. For just $34 a month, you will be part of a supportive community that offers weekly accountability check-ins, a private Slack channel, live productivity sessions, and monthly Zoom calls with fellow bloggers and me, Megan Porta. We are here to help you stay on track, stay motivated, and connected as you build your brand and work towards your big blogging goals. If you are ready to move forward without the pressure of a huge commitment, visit eblogtalk.com/focus and claim your spot today. So thinking about food bloggers' businesses, because our businesses are structured differently than yours, we don't often send out products and it's just a different business, but the email concept is really the same. So how would you recommend a food blogger approaches this in the way that you did? So having that authenticity, showing up consistently. Yeah, like what other advice do you have that a food blogger would be able to resonate with?
Well, I guess one thing that I do that might be useful is I try to be very efficient with my time. And I think as another crossover with food bloggers, I'm also a mom of 3, often juggling, much more than my business. So I lean into efficiency. So like right now, I have some help on the social media aspect. But what I do is I write my Monday email. So that's a big deal for me. That's, kind of my biggest driver is that Monday email. It's very personal. It has to do, like I said, fishing in our life. And then that becomes kind of the cornerstone content for the week. And so then my social media person, she can take that kind of weekly email and turn it into a blog post or multiple blog posts and sort of has that backbone. Like I might be talking, it's coho season. So then she's going to be posting coho and things like that. So I would say just kind of being as efficient with your time and energy as possible is kind of big. Otherwise it can feel like you're spinning your wheels and you get kind of tired of it.
Yeah. How far in advance do you select what you're going to write about, or do you just do it kind of on the spot?
So these days I'm trying to get better and better, especially when it was, just me. I did a lot of just-in-time writing, and sometimes that works, and sometimes you get busy and it gets hard. So what I do now is I have the world's most basic content calendar. It's just a spreadsheet. And I do this because I now have help with social media. Not everybody does. I did it myself for a really long time, but it's been really nice for me to do that. And it is allowing me to be more focused. So what I do is I'll have a theme for the month. So like September, my year is very similar, like the time of year of the fish and things like that. So September, back to school, I have a couple blogs about getting kids to eat fish, brain food. So those are kind of some themes around kind of going back to school, getting back in the kitchen, cooking fish, healthy for kids. So I will kind of list out my themes, and then I'll just list out kind of what I think my Monday topics might be. And then I give myself a little bit of room to move things around. And then I kind of look at my schedule, and I get one easy email a month because we do a giveaway. So just for being on our list, you're entered into a monthly drawing for a $50 gift card.
Oh, that's nice.
It's great for me because that means for me, that email is really easy to write. It's pretty much written every month already. It's a copy and paste. I just have to pick a winner. And so I put that email on my busy week. So I just took my son to college last weekend. And so that was giveaway weekend.
Yeah. Yes.
Giveaway email.
Smart.
So kind of building those topics around what I'm doing, but also what I have time for has been really nice. So it's like I get that one freebie every month, and I don't just, I move it around. I don't care if they're even back to back. If I need the time, I need the time. So that's been really nice too.
When you have more time in your week and you're able to sit down and really give thought and effort into an email, what all goes in it? Do you have certain components that always are a part of it?
I've played with a lot of structures, and I have sort of just hit on what's something that it just flows for me. So I start pretty text heavy, no photos or anything at the top. I just kind of want to jump right in a familiar sort of friendly way. So I just kind of mainly do text, and then usually I have a photo with what I'm talking about, family photo or us fishing or something like that. And then I'll kind of use that bottom part after the photo to transition into kind of the pitch. So, for me, because I sell fish, it's always going to be kind of like, okay, and, we've got this fish available. So I always link to the fish. And that's one thing. I know that some people are scared to make the pitch in the email. And that's hard for food bloggers because you're just trying to send a recipe. You don't have to pitch a product.
Right.
But that's, I would say too, is don't be afraid. I sell fish in every single email. And I don't feel bad about it. That's the intent. I wouldn't send an email if I wasn't selling fish. So I'm giving a lot of value also, but I am selling in every email. Yeah. On Fridays, I do and this is new this year, I do a Fish Friday email. So I skip the story and I skip everything, and I just go like, here's your Fish Friday email. And it has a recipe. But of course, I take the fish from that recipe and I put a link in it. So I'm selling fish also. And so that one is pretty basic, and people really like it. It's a great addition to the kind of more in-depth Monday email. It's just a really simple recipe. Here's the link, check it out, and here's the fish type. So, and we make sales from those too.
Food bloggers need to hear this. They need the permission to sell, because we do have, aside from our blog and promoting our blogs, we also have products that we sell. We have ebooks. We have all kinds of things that we create. And a lot of people are so afraid to mention them. I hear this all the time, Sena. People just say, I don't know, I don't want to scare people away, and I don't want to sell too soon. I don't want to sell too often. But like you said, that's why they're here. They're here for you to get the value that you have to offer, right? So sell away.
Absolutely. And I would just say, and in the beginning, I might have felt some of that too, but it's been huge to be like, no, I sell in every email. That's why I send the email.
Yeah.
And I've never gotten any hate mail from it.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. Nobody complains. If they don't want to be on your list, they can leave your list.
Yes.
Simple as that. Yeah.
And I also have just done a lot of work around not worrying about that either.
Yes. Oh,
yeah. So I'm not looking up the numbers on how many people left, or after an email, I'm not checking to see how many people left. I personally just focus on the positive. And, if people left, they probably weren't going to buy anyways. And then I don't have to worry about a bunch of, you have to pay more when you have a bigger list. I don't want a big list of non-buyers. I really want a list of people that are interested in what I have. So if you think of it this way, if you offer something to sell and they leave, then they were never going to buy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I think that's such a good mindset to adopt. And then you said you send to a week, or do you send more than that? Your Monday and your Friday email?
Yeah. So I send, it's the Monday email that's sort of like near and dear to my heart. That's the one I've always done. And I just do Mondays because we ship on Mondays. So then when people place that order, it goes right out and makes happy people. And then we just added the Fish Friday actually last January. And I was working with a food blogger on that. And it was her idea, which was really cool. She reached out. She does recipes for fish, all pescatarian.
Awesome.
And she reached out and said, and so I've done a lot of really fun collaborations with food bloggers and people doing recipes and all of that, or Instagram and that. And so that was really cool. It was her idea. She said, how about I, send you these recipes and you can do a Fish Friday. And I was like, oh, that's great. In fact, I was kind of thinking of doing something like that. Let's just do it. And so we did, I think 8 installments. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to keep going and that they can be, I'm going to include other bloggers, and I do a link to their site so that they get, a dedicated email and it goes to their site. And then when I don't have a food blogger kind of lined up, I just do one of my recipes, and we have a lot of recipes on our site. So that's been really fun, and our customers have really enjoyed it. And I think it's a nice way to collaborate with other people, because I'm always trying to, a lot of influencers or food bloggers, we're both looking for the same thing. We want to increase our lists. And for us, because we sell the fish, there's a huge crossover with people doing recipes. And, our audience, we're not competing. It's a total collaboration, because it's like, if they're going to eat more fish, they need the recipes, and the recipes remind them to eat more fish. So it's to me, it's a really nice collaboration.
Yeah. Win-win all around for sure. After having written so many emails, I imagine that you have some types of emails that just generate engagement and get people writing back to you. This is something we talk about a lot. Like, how do we get people to engage? How do we get them to respond? Do you have any tips on that?
Well, for Instagram, things are changing all the time, but what I could see, just what was very clear when I would look back over kind of just like likes and engagement and things like that, it's like, if our face is in it, it's going to be double the likes. So just having our face, that personal touch just seems to make a big difference. So I would say just the personal stuff. Even though we're selling fish doesn't sound very personal.
Yeah.
Having the face in our socials really helps telling our story. And then on emails, when this week was my husband and I's 24th anniversary. And so, I talked about that, and he's out fishing and things like that. And then I get a lot of responses back, congratulations and things like that. So when I'm talking about personal stuff, I feel great that my list, feels like they can just respond to me and be like, oh, that's great. Or sometimes they'll send me an article about fishing, or just congratulations. And so it makes me feel like we have a reciprocal kind of relationship, but also it helps my deliverables when people respond to my emails.
Do you try to coordinate socials and emails? So if something works really well on social media, do you carry it over to your email?
Well, other than I kind of use my email for content, but I feel like, let me think. I would say just in the fact of like kind of personal, and I do because, again, I like efficiencies, but I think that personal touch carries over on both.
People like that. They love when so my Instagram account is very business account. It's podcast episodes. It's about the community. It's about information, how to get SEO information in your head, whatever.
Right.
But when I share something, like I went to the state fair recently with my family and posted a cute picture of me and my boys. Oh my gosh, people love that. They just love putting a face to the person behind a business for some
Absolutely.
reason. It goes bonkers.
Pace. Yeah. And it's just like, it just shows. I mean, and for us too, with that food component, I feel like people are craving that connection with their food. And so just, by putting your face out there, you're creating that connection that people can see who you are, what you're about. It's really interesting how big of a difference that makes.
Yeah. Well, growing email lists seems to be a hot topic. In 2024, I would say growing Instagram is a really hot topic. SEO is kind of a topic people are afraid of, but also growing your email list is huge.
Yeah.
So I think this is a really relevant, very, very good topic to cover. Is there anything else you would impart to food bloggers who really want to grow their lists?
I would say I totally agree. And, you hear all the things and the reasons why, but, I put probably the most value in our list, in our business. I put more value to that than our Instagram numbers, which it helps for certain reasons. But that list is that direct line to your customers. So I would say if people are thinking, should I do an email list and how much effort should I put into it? I would say can be the real backbone of your business. And so I think there's a lot of value there. And there's a lot of collaborations. Like I've said, a lot of our list growth, we've done some kind of giveaways with other companies and things like that. So I think that it's not done, it's not over, and there's still a lot of collaborations and ways to build that list. And then you have it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's something that you own. You don't have to worry about it being yanked away from you and never getting it back. I hear those horror stories all the time where people they spend years and years building up a platform and then they lose everything overnight. It's just so devastating. I cannot imagine.
And that's so scary. And yeah, when you've put all that time and energy to think that I've had troubles with Facebook before. I haven't had it with Instagram, but I have definitely heard about it. And it is really scary. That's a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, it is. Can you imagine putting in like a decade of your life to building? There's someone in my mastermind group this happened to. She lost her entire Facebook page, her business page, and cannot get it back. It's like they've told her, sorry, like it's there, but she can't access it. So,
and anything, I mean, I've just dealt with Facebook a little bit on some ad stuff where, somebody ran ads on our account and it's like, oh boy, it's not really how you want to spend your time is trying to get Facebook to do something for you.
Yeah, exactly. So email is where it's at. I think that's kind of the message going into 2025. Definitely focus there if you haven't. And we just appreciate your perspective being someone related. Like obviously your business is food. So we get that, but not from an actual food blogger perspective. So I love your perspective on everything you've shared today. So thank you, Sena.
Yeah, it's super fun. And I agree. It's fun to see where those lines do intersect. I sometimes am like, we're in the, what do you call it? Econ, like we sell a product, but I do it like we do a lot of sort of more along the lines of influencer marketing. And then I also sell our fish a lot like a coach would sell, where we're teaching and stuff like that. So I feel like we're in a few different categories, which kind of makes it fun.
Yeah, you're educating, exactly. You're doing so many different angles of it. Thank you, and best of luck to you in your business and growing it more, as well as your email list. I think this will be a really valuable episode. So we appreciate you. Thanks for showing up today. Do you have either a favorite quote or words of inspiration to leave us with today?
Yes, this is not my own quote. This was from Marie Forleo, who I follow, and she says, everything is figure outable. And I love that one. And because especially in the beginning, when you are bootstrapping and you have to figure stuff out on your own. It's nice to just remember that everything is figure outable. You can find a way and do a little research or just put a little time in and you can do it.
Yes. No, I think it's such a simple concept, but there's so much truth. We often doubt ourselves, right? Or doubt our network. So yeah, love that you ended that way. We will put together a show notes page for you, Sena. If you want to go look at those, head to eblogtalk.com/Sena Sea. So that's SENA SEA. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Well, of course, I'd love if you jump on my email list.
Yay, yes.
I love to connect with people. We have the free cookbook, but Instagram too. We're Sena Sea _seafoods on Instagram. And because of that crossover with all the food influencer, and we got the beautiful photos going and things like that, jump over there and check us out and let me know, this is not a pitch, but let me know if you want to collaborate.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that would be awesome if some people reached out for that. I know some pescatarian food bloggers. I wonder if you already work with them. I don't know, but they're amazing.
Well, I love to, and it's just super fun to find ways that help both parties.
Yeah, absolutely. Win-win all around. So for your email list, I'm just looking at your site. Is it what's the best way to get on that? Is that...
Oh, if you go to the homepage and then scroll down.
Oh, I see. Join our VIP list. Is that right? Okay.
Yep, that's right.
Toward the bottom. Okay, I'm going to be on it in just a moment.
Oh, fun.
I'm super excited to see what you deliver. But yeah, thank you, Sena, so much for your time today. Thank you for being here. And thank you, food bloggers, for listening. I will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Eat Blog Talk. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you posted it to your social media feed and stories. I will see you next time.